Have you had alcohol since your surgery? Did you notice that you got tipsy from just a few sips? Were you thinking to yourself, hey, what's going on here? I've only had a few sips and feel a buzz. That's because alcohol absorbs way faster after metabolic and bariatric surgery, especially if you had gastric bypass or a gastric sleeve. Coming up, is alcohol risky? How much can you drink and how fast will you become intoxicated? Don't go anywhere. If you drink alcohol after surgery or you have friends or family who've had surgery and drink alcohol, this is must-know info.
You spoke and we listened. Our chewable multivitamins are now dye-free, meeting your demand for more options. These dye-free chewables join our calcium chews and multivitamin soft chews in the dye-free lineup. Visit ProCareNow.com and use code Susan10 to save money.
I'm bariatric dietitian Dr. Susan Mitchell, ex-radio dietitian turned podcaster. You're listening to the Bariatric Surgery Success podcast. Are you frustrated with all the confusion when it comes to nutrition, especially online? Eat this food, don't eat that food. Why don't you fast? Maybe try a keto diet or just reset your pouch. Gosh, it's enough to make you give up and just say, forget about it. I don't know what to do. Well, I do. I know what to do. It matters where you get your nutrition information. When it comes to your bariatric surgery, nutrition is specific. So let's cut through the nonsense and let's get what you need to know now. I created the Bariatric Surgery Success podcast to give you accurate nutrition information you can count on. Simple, actionable, step-by-step strategies that work. I want you to feel well every day. Get out there and do the things you want to do. You're in the right place, friend. Let's get started. Oh, and if you love the Bariatric Surgery Success podcast, would you take a moment and write me a review on Apple Podcasts? I'd really appreciate it. Do you receive my weekly newsletter called Breaking Down Nutrition? If not, what are you waiting for? It's a quick way to keep up on nutrition for the bariatric lifestyle. You can sign up today on my website, breakingdownnutrition.com. It's free. You'll be the first to know about helpful nutrition tips, recipes, giveaways, product specials, and the latest podcasts and upcoming interviews that you don't want to miss. Well, a recent post from one of my Facebook group members said, I'm interested in the effects of alcohol after surgery. I'm struggling a bit, and I seem to get intoxicated very fast. It's worrying me. Should you drink alcohol after bariatric surgery? If so, how much can you drink before you're buzzed? And what other effects on surgery can alcohol have that you might not like? The quick answer, it depends on how far along you are since your surgery. The general guideline is that you should not drink alcoholic beverages for at least 6 months up to 1 year after surgery, with 1 year being the desired period of time. It's important, too, that you consult your healthcare provider, talk to your bariatric dietitian about drinking alcohol after surgery, just to be sure. We're all different. Surgeries vary and you are unique. So have this conversation. For example, with a gastric bypass, the upper stomach is made into an egg-shaped pouch called a bypass because most of the stomach, along with the pylorus valve that separates the stomach from the small intestine, plus the first part of the small intestine, are all bypassed. The small intestine is attached to the small stomach pouch, bypassing that pyloric valve entirely. So what does all this medical information mean to you? Basically, the lining of the stomach is where the enzyme called alcohol dehydrogenase breaks down alcohol. After surgery, you have less of this enzyme available, so you are exposed to alcohol that is not metabolized or broken down. Some alcohol is metabolized by the stomach, but most of it heads into the small intestine and then into the bloodstream, and boom, alcohol buzz. Drinking alcohol after a gastric bypass makes you feel intoxicated more quickly as blood alcohol levels peak higher and faster, which leads to extra high blood alcohol levels. Don't miss this. It's really important. One single drink, and in some people, a few sips, can elevate a blood alcohol level to the point of legal intoxication. What about a sleeve gastrectomy? Approximately 80% of the stomach is removed, leaving a banana-shaped tube. The pyloric valve does slow down the passage of alcohol some from that small banana-shaped stomach to the small intestine, but still causes that intoxicated feeling quickly. So why is it you can't have alcohol until 6 months to a year post-surgery? During the early months after surgery, you're already following a lower carb diet and rapidly losing weight, which can lower your blood glucose level. You'll be more sensitive to the toxic effects of alcohol. Okay, let's just dig a little bit deeper here on this big change. It's referred to as alcohol sensitivity. And these effects of alcohol include hypoglycemia, also known as low blood sugar. Alcohol consumption further depletes your stored glucose, also known as glycogen. So drinking alcohol reduces the supply of glucose to your brain, causing a loss of coordination and balance, slurred speech, poor vision, and confusion. These are all conditions of hypoglycemia that mimic and look like those associated with what? Being intoxicated. You can see how the result from a drink or two could be both hypoglycemia and intoxication. Low blood sugar can cause dizziness and even a loss of consciousness. So in addition, you may consume less food when drinking alcohol, which also speeds up the absorption of alcohol in the bloodstream. Couple that with a suggested rule of not drinking and eating at the same time, and you become extremely sensitive to alcohol. It could take you only part of a drink or one drink to become intoxicated enough to not be able to legally drive. Did you catch that? It could take you only part of a drink or one drink to become intoxicated enough to not be able to legally drive. On top of your low blood sugar, alcohol inhibits the absorption of B vitamins such as B12 and thiamine. And even without alcohol, you're already struggling with taking in enough of these vitamins. So deficiency of these B vitamins can make you feel weak and have less energy. I'm asked a lot about weight regain after surgery. Well, alcohol can definitely affect weight regain. It contains a lot of calories, and then we call them empty calories, which is the opposite of nutrient dense. Basically, empty calories means it's a lot of calories and no nutritional benefit to your body, which can lead, first of all, to that vitamin depletion we were talking about, especially B12 and thiamine, then to slow weight loss, and then to that dreaded weight regain. Well, I don't want to wrap up without mentioning alcohol and transfer addiction. Did you know that issues with food prior to surgery could transfer to addiction in substances such as alcohol, shopping, gambling, even sex? If you want to know more about alcohol and transfer addiction, be sure and listen to podcast episode 100. Bariatric psychologist Dr. Connie Stapleton joins me to answer some tough questions about alcohol and transfer addiction, and she gives you a lot to think about. I'll put the link in the show notes, and you can find episode 100 wherever you listen to my podcast. Remember, drinking alcohol after surgery, even in very small amounts, can cause intoxication much more quickly than you ever thought possible and likely cause hypoglycemia or low blood sugar. So having surgery alters your lifestyle, but it doesn't take away the enjoyment of life. Someone's always throwing a party or a celebration with various food and drinks, right? So what do you need to know to navigate the bariatric lifestyle for your next celebration should you decide to include alcohol? Number 1, never drink on an empty stomach. Enjoy your drink after finishing your meal to help slow down absorption. Number 2, drink slowly. Since alcohol absorbs very fast, make sure you take sips throughout a long period of time. Number 3, know when to stop and opt for non-alcoholic beverages instead. Limit to 1 drink or less and see how your body handles it. Number 4, be sure and take those bariatric vitamin and mineral supplements. Number 5, have a designated driver since your balance and your brain function can be affected by very small amounts of alcohol, like 1 drink. Remember, plan and take care of yourself. You are worth it.
Bariatric Surgery Success with dietitian Dr. Susan Mitchell is produced and owned by Practicalories, LLC. All rights reserved. Remember, the content provided on this podcast is for information purposes only and doesn't create a patient-provider relationship. It's intended to provide reference material and is not designed to provide medical advice. Please consult your healthcare provider regarding any medical issues you have relating to symptoms, conditions, diseases, diagnosis, treatments, and side effects. Podcast guests express their own opinions, experience, and conclusions which do not necessarily reflect or agree with the host, Dr. Susan Mitchell, or Practicalories, LLC.